Okay. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 51, verses 10 through 12. And we'll do, I'll just read these and then we'll do this Sanskrit for 12. So after leading me such a long distance, now he is lying here like some saint, thus thinking the sleeping man to be Lord Krishna. The deluded fool kicked him with all his strength. The man awoke after a long sleep and slowly opened his eyes. Looking all about, he saw Kalyavana standing beside him. I'll do Sanskrit here. Asatavatasha rushtashya drishtipatina bharata deha jinagnina dagdho bhashmashad abhavat kshanat satavatasha rushtashya drishtipatina bharata deha jinagnina dagdho bhashmashad abhavat kshanat Satavatasha rustasya drishtipatina bharata deha jinagnina dagdo bhashmastadabhavakshanat. Translation. The awakened man was angry and cast his glance at Kalyavana, whose body burst into flames in a single moment. O King Parikshit, Kalyavana was burnt to ashes. Purport. The man who incinerated Kalyavana with his glance was named Muchakunda. As he will explain to Lord Krishna, he had fought for a long time on behalf of the demigods. Finally, taking as his benediction the right to sleep undisturbed. The Harivamsa explains that he secured the further benediction of being able to destroy anyone who disturbed his sleep. Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes from the Sri Harivamsa as follows. Prashuptam bodhayad yomam tam dahyayam aham suraha chakshusha krodha diptena evam aha punaha. Again and again, Muchakunda said, O demigods with eyes blazing with anger, may I incinerate anyone who awakens me from sleep. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Muchakunda made this rather morbid request to scare Lord Indra, who Muchakunda thought might otherwise wake him repeatedly to request his help in fighting Indra's cosmic enemies. Funny. Indra's consent to Muchakunda's request is described in Sri Vishnu Purana as follows. Pruptascha divai shamshuptam yastvam uttapayishyati deha jinagnina sadhya satu bhashmi karishyati. The demigods declared, whoever awakens you from sleep will suddenly be burnt to ashes by a fire generated from his own body. So, this is actually one of my favorite stories in Bhagavatam, just because there's so much here. First off, the scene is, just in case anyone is just tuning in, Kalyavana was chasing Lord Krishna to kill him, And Lord Krishna was just always out of his reach. He couldn't quite catch up with him and get him. In the previous verse, it says, uh, um, I can't see what I saw earlier, but basically it says that his impious activities weren't burnt up yet, so he couldn't quite catch Krishna. So there's a little lesson there that one cannot just have Krishna or get to Krishna just out of physical strength. One cannot even really approach Krishna if one is impure in heart. So, though Kalyavana was trying to reach Krishna, he couldn't just forcibly reach Krishna. And of course, he had ill intent on Krishna. So, of course, if Krishna doesn't want him to catch him, then he won't. And then Krishna tricks them. They go into this cave, and Krishna all along has this plan, because in Bhagavatam we will hear that Krishna does many things with one action. Krishna doesn't live like a linear life like most of us do. It's multifaceted. He has vision beyond what we can even imagine. And so simultaneous to killing this demon, he's going to give a blessing to a devotee. He's also, and also the story is going to unfold through so that we can hear this story about Muchakunda. And I'm not going to elaborate on that too much because you're going to hear about it in following verses. But there are a few points here that talk about Muchakunda. Muchakunda, he was a great warrior. He's actually a king on earth. And the kings on earth are actually very powerful in these ages. In bygone ages, they were actually so strong and so powerful that demigods would sometimes, depending on the situation, they would ask them to help them fight wars. As we read in Mahabharata, Arjuna even did such things as well. So we may think like, oh yeah, the demigods are just the most powerful beings, but actually these Raja Rishis, these great kings of the Vedic age, were actually so powerful, they were practically demigods themselves. And the demigods would even employ them and ask them to help them fight these wars. So it's quite funny if you think about it, that they would constantly be asking Muchakunda to fight these wars, and after he had enough, his the only benediction that he could really imagine is just let me sleep. And it was because he wanted to make it very clear to Indra that it's not okay to ask me to fight another war because I'm done. He just wants to rest. And I see Damodar Priya. It says Muchakunda doesn't sound like someone with children or pets. They are always waking one up. Yes. So, well, he did have a family and children and whatnot, but they were, because time is different in other dimensions of space time, then they actually had already passed away by the time he was done fighting. But it's a good point, because I remember I used to travel and distribute books and when I was a monk, and we'd be like, there in the summertime there'd be like seven young men in a van, traveling to concerts, and you had like no space or any like there's no privacy or space or anything. You're just shoved in the back of a van that's like converted into a camper basically. And yeah, like there was this kind of I was kind of like I'd get very grumpy if people tried to wake like people woke me up because I'm a light sleeper. But I really was so tired, from distributing books in the sun all day. Um, Whenever I tried to you try to sleep and then someone would like be like crawling over you to get something and they'd like accidentally nudge you and I would get so oftentimes I would get so like so ticked off, and a few of my friends would joke on like Muchakunda, but they said I would like burn them with my eyes. So yeah, so I can imagine uh how Muchakunda feels. Sometimes I would have perhaps desired the same benediction. But but yeah, it's a funny thing if you think about it. He's asking Lord Indra, the King of Heaven, for this benediction so he won't wake him up. And then so he comes and he sleeps in this cave on Earth, and thousands of years later, Krishna comes along with Kalyavana to the same exact cave. There's a lot of caves in India. Same exact cave, and Muchakunda, or sorry, Kalyavana sees his body on the ground, and he's thinking it's Krishna laying there like some saint, like some saint sleeping on the ground without pillow or blanket or anything like that. And he's like, what? He's like appalled almost, like, what is Krishna doing? And then he goes and kicks him with all of his might. So if you were Muchakunda, you're sleeping there, and all of a sudden someone kicks you. Okay, yeah, you have this benediction, but also it's gonna be like, it's not like someone's like tapping your shoulder to try to wake you up. They kick you full force, and then he gets up, and it says that his body burst into flames in a single moment. So this is and in the purport it says uh oh no, it's in the uh, uh the description, the summary of the chapter, and it says here, um, so the man harshly stared. Okay, so the man had been sleeping for a very long time, and now, having been violently awakened, he looked around angrily in all directions and saw Kalyavana. The man stared harshly at him, igniting a fire in Kalyavana's body, and in a moment burning him to ashes. So it's interesting how they worded that. Sometimes you see like a picture of this, and he's like shooting like fire out of his eyes, like one of the X-Men. But this one says that it ignited a fire in Kalyavana's body. So I'm curious, also curious if it's more of the X-Men fire coming out of the eyes, or if it's more of like he looked at him and by mystic power, the fire within, because we all have the different elements in our body, that if the fire element within his body just ignited and burnt him to ashes. So it's just a little thing that I thought was interesting how that was worded. So it would be cool either way. But yeah, so thinking about Krishna and Krishna's desires, that's what the 10th canto was really about. We're getting a glimpse into Krishna's life in the spiritual world manifest on the material plane. And Krishna, when he came to this planet, his mission was Parichanaya Sadhunam Vinishaya Chaduskritam Dharma Stamstapanartaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge, he came to liberate the devotees, to like save the devotees, to kill the demons, and to establish principles of religion. So we see here two things. He eliminated a demon, and he's also well, basically he's delivering his devotee, or he's fulfilling a devotee's real actually desire. And so Muchakunda will read on what happens. I don't want to spoil anything like that, but basically, what better benediction could one have? Lord Krishna comes and you become part of his earthly Leela. And the accomplishment of many things happens here. And also because it's in Bhagavatam, which is the book that spreads Dharma, all things have been done in this Leela. The deliverance of a devotee, the annihilation of the demoniac, and establishing principles of religion. All of this is done. And just imagine how fortunate Muchakunda is, because he literally gets to be part of the Lord's pastime and see all of the purposes fulfilled of Lord Krishna's manifestation on earth, of his appearance on planet Earth, all done in one short interaction. So how fortunate is Muchakunda, this pious king, this great devotee of the Lord, who served the Lord's servants for so many years, and then the Lord benedicts him this way. And this is just an incredible thing, an amazing thing. And so, yeah, this is the Lord's desire. The Lord actually loves to, and that's actually the first thing. The Lord really loves to have these interactions with his devotees. This is the main thing, because he's Rasaraj. He is the king of rasa. This is his real greatest desire. Killing the demons, that's like the fun part. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, okay, extra fun, right? But being with his devotees and having loving interactions with them, that's really what the Lord's most interested in. And that's what the Lord's most interested in with all of the living entities as well. So we are those living entities as well. And we have been born into this world at a very special time, that we can read books like this, we can discuss with each other, and we can practice bhakti in our daily lives in a very simple way. So Lord Chaitanya, actually today is Advaita Acharya's appearance day, and Advaita Acharya is the one who called Lord Chaitanya to come to this earth. So of course we know from a esoteric standpoint that Advaita Acharya is he's Vishnu, basically, and he's because he's part of the Panchatattva, he's part of the five truths, which are the Lord, completely the Lord. The Lord's Achintya Beta Beta Tattva, inconceivably one and different, and we are all part of that as well. But at the same time, the Lord expands himself and manifests in this world for purposes. So Advaita Acharya is the one who prayed to the Lord for his appearance just a little over 500 years ago. And so he's so special in this way, to be the one to initiate, seemingly, the Lord's manifestation and birth on this earth. Not too long ago, he was practically here yesterday from the standpoint of if you look at time and this little blip in time that we're experiencing right now, and 500 years is not very long. He was basically just here. And so we're blessed so much that we can come into very close contact with the Lord, even from that physical point of view. And we can go to Mayapur, to the place where Advaita Acharya was worshipping his Shaligram Shila on the banks of the Ganga, with Ganga water, praying for the Lord, calling for him to come. And the Lord always reciprocates with his devotees, especially Advaita Acharya, who's playing. He is the pure devotee of the Lord, who the Lord is actually practically a servant of, indebted to. And so when the Lord called, he came. Of course, he has to come. Such a great soul as Advaita Acharya. He comes, and they spread the Hare Krishna movement throughout Bengal and throughout all of India, and now all around the whole world. And so just from the prayers of Advaita Acharya, we have all been blessed. And now we get to have Bhagavatam and read about Muchakunda. And in turn, because we've received this gift, we naturally want to share it with others. So I used to do this in a very practical way of just distributing books to anyone that I met, which I still do in a different way. But I actually, because here in Gainesville, we have Krishna lunch, I take a lot of realtors and clients to Krishna lunch. And so everyone gets, a lot of my clients get prasadam and books and hear about our community here, and many even decide to come check out a program. So it's actually whatever we do in life, we all just have to be wonderful beacons of light to share whatever we understand. Something that Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada said to one of his disciples was, they basically asked, I forget the exact context, but basically asked like, oh, we just barely started practicing this, like, what do I know? And the whole Prabhupada's instruction was like, just repeat whatever you do understand. Whatever little thing you do understand, just share that with other people. Realization is so powerful. When we share a realization with others, we actually become more realized in that realization. And so it's actually, we have to teach what we learn. And that's actually one of Lord Chaitanya's, one of his greatest teachings, and one of his, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, a Brahmana was following him on his South Indian tour and wanted to stay with him, but he had a family and he was, he lived in a village. He had a life, but he was thinking, I will give up everything and just follow the Lord, right? Classic renunciation, like, just drop everything. But the Lord said, no, you should go back to your village. And he said, Yari deka tarikaha Krishna ubadesha maragaya guru hana tare yadesh. He says, wherever you go, whoever you meet, just tell them about Krishna and his teachings, and therefore become a spiritual master and liberate everyone in the land. So that instruction is not just for him, but it's for everyone. And so whatever way we can do that, whatever, we all are unique. We all have a special gift, and we all have inclinations that are God-given to us. And whatever that is, find a way how to work our devotion and spread Krishna consciousness to that in whatever way. Because this is a lifestyle. Krishna consciousness is a lifestyle. It is holistic, where it permeates every bit of our existence, not just something we do in the mornings and evenings or whatever. It's throughout the day. is something that we have to shine our light. And we're going to do that automatically just by being who we are. But we can really lean into it. I think that's what I'm getting at. It's like lean into it. We have so much to give the world. And I would say actions speak louder than words, but also the words are important too. And people, even just what I think, I was having lunch with a realtor friend of mine the other day, and he had been going through a hard time. And I was just there listening to him, and we were having lunch, at Krishna lunch, and I was just listening to him. And that's all he needed, really. He just needed someone to listen to him. And it meant a lot to him. And I think that sometimes that's all people need, someone to listen to them, because we live in a world that's full of miseries. It's all around us, even the greatest happiness people show on Instagram. That's not a real demonstration of someone's life. Every day, people experience high moments and low moments, and sometimes it's periods of life. And yeah, we live in a world that's full of misery. So everyone has something to share. And as devotees of Krishna, to be there for people and just be different than the other people, because we care and we're and we feel we're empathetic towards others. That makes a big difference in people's lives. So I think that's something we can all do. And thank you all for listening today. And thank you for having me here. I would like to open the floor for questions, comments, anything. I see a few hands up. I see Bhima. Bhima, why don't you go first? Hare Krishna. I can't hear you, Bhima. Maybe we can unmute you.
Haribo Prabhu. Sorry about that. I'm out by a barn.
It looks cold.
Wonderful. Yeah, it is very cold. Yeah, I'm awake. I'm awake though, which is what's important. I think the way in which you ended the class was very pertinent and very applicable to the call for Prabhupada's mission at this time, that we are no longer shaved up and dancing. Even though there are many New York City Harinam, which is one way of reaching out, but we also have another way of reaching out, which is in our everyday lives. Like you said, Lord Chaitanya said to the so-called renunciant, just go back to your family and tell everybody you know about Krishna. And the best way, of course, to tell people about Krishna is in your willingness to listen to them and to be with them and to show them your joy. And as you said, we have so much to offer the world. We have a treasure. We really do, when we take accounting of our blessings that we have been given by Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya, whether it be the holy name or just a lifestyle in the mode of goodness, reaching for pure goodness, knowing that we always have a friend inside us, that listens, what to speak of a community of devotees who will always be able to understand what it is that we're going through and what it is that we might need, even though we might not know ourselves. At the hostel that we're running with Adi Parush and Ananda Bihari, New York Spirit, we have inculcated that type of philosophy, that we don't, overtly preach, but all the pictures on the walls are beautiful pictures of Krishna and Radharani, or whether it be Christ, Sermon on the Mount, just beautiful classic pictures. All the books in the rooms are everything from the Bhagavad Gita to the Journey Home to Rumi's Mashnavi, a devotional. And then all the people that we hire are devotees who simply are kind, hospitable, and soulful. So we've taken something that is actually very sterile and soulless, which is, when you go to stay at a hotel, and we've made it into something soulful and very fertile. And when people come, even though we have so very little to offer them, materially speaking, very, very small rooms, we're able to offer them prasadam. We're able to offer them joy. We're able to offer them so much. And what you said is so important, that we all realize that no matter where we're at, whatever station we're at, Damodar Priya, she's a storyteller. She loves children. She talks, she tells stories online, and is that reaches the children's hearts by telling them wonderful stories. And Adi Purush does his food relief to whomever shows up, be they homeless, be they migrants, whoever shows up gets prasadam. And we all know that the beginning of our spiritual life usually begins with prasadam. So I thank you very much. I was wondering whether I was going to say anything today, but when you said what you said about how much we have to offer, how much joy, and how we can preach by not opening our mouths at all, but by being there, then the people say, "Who are you that you took time to listen to me?" That is a very rare and precious gift, to have an open heart that Krishna has given us by being the Lord of our hearts. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I appreciate everything you just said. Yeah, it's interesting because when you listen, eventually someone's gonna ask you a question. Okay. And that question is the doors opening to them receiving knowledge and information. And honestly, if you're able to crack that door open, they're going to be way more of an open vessel than if you're just coming at them, telling them the truth or whatever. Yeah. So I think if we can listen in the mode of goodness and be there for people, that relationship is going to be much stronger and there's going to be much more trust there. Because when people start telling you things, they start trusting you. And I think that's honestly, that is the most powerful thing when you gain someone's trust. Like when I'm in my profession is real estate, when I get someone's trust as a client, for example, even from a material point of view, it's so much easier. You know what I mean? It's just, you can work with them. It's just so much easier. They're going to ask you for advice rather than just them knowing everything. So it's so much easier when you can get that into your relationship with somebody. So I appreciate that. Okay, so we have Christina. Hello, Christina. You have a question or something to comment or anything?
Yeah, sorry, Krishna. I'm sorry. I'm getting my daughter ready for preschool, so I have to be fast. Okay.
Go ahead.
I appreciate your class today, Prabhu, because like I keep, I support people who have intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities, and also women who have gotten their children taken away from ACS. And I deal with a lot, right? And a lot of them are always saying, "Wow, Christina, you're so patient with us," And, I used to be very reactionary, like in my mode of passion a lot. And, I have to give thanks to Krishna because it's really the chanting. And no matter if I'm in someone's house that practices Santeria or someone's house that practices Islam, I'm just like, it's God and my continuous practice, my consistency. And I feel like they're able to see my consistency because I just kind of always show up no matter what. And I'm kind of able to tap in spiritually with them and kind of like aid them in that way too, not just like feed them in my job, but also feed them some spiritual knowledge, filter it for them, for what they need. And I just realized how my career has matured as I've matured. And now I could say I finally have a career that is aligned to my spiritual practice and is not like disrupted. For a while I was working like in law firms and it was like Shark Tank, it was wild out there. But now although I do endure a lot of stress, I'm able to filter it through chanting and through finding peace in the sastra and studying spiritual knowledge and esoteric, Sankhya philosophy, and just really like keeping my feet rooted in that through the day. It's really helpful. And also my daughter is singing Govindam Adipurusham like random times. And I just feel like I'm being blessed throughout the day just hearing her sing that. But also with the people I support, I'm really feeling it now. And they keep saying it. So many people, you're so patient. And I'm like, I'm not, it's Krishna, it's not me at all. And so thank you for bringing that full circle. Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah, keep it up. Man, that's powerful. Keep it up. You're doing awesome. Okay, so we have 6 more minutes. Ishvari Sundari.
Haribol, I'm in a CVS, so hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
But I wanted to share, so I have 2 boys, and my younger one, who's 30, is moving to Gainesville because of love. He's in love with his girlfriend, and she's a tattoo artist over there, and he's
Nice.
following the same path. But I was so happy when he told me that she lives in Gainesville, because I said, oh my God, that's so wonderful because you're so close to Alachua. So now he's telling me how I saw the devotees and they're offering us, what's that thing called, that, blessed food? And I go, oh, prasad. But what really,
maybe I can meet him.
I would love that. But what really impressed me the other day, he goes, Mom, there's so many devotees down here. And I know your friends back in Jersey love tattoos of the deities. Maybe I could just dedicate my tattoo career to to deities tattoos. And I'm just like, oh my God, Krishna, what are you doing? I didn't say that to him, but I'm like, oh my God, that's such a great idea, Andrew. Absolutely follow that. So in a way, without him knowing, he's actually doing a service, to devotees and to Krishna, because not, they're wearing the deities on their, on themselves and seeing it all the time. But then he's also involved in that blessing. So yeah, Krishna works in quite mysterious ways. So thank you. I'm sorry.
I'm sending you my number through a private message so you can send me a text and maybe I can meet with him.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
5 of my friends growing up became tattoo artists. So that tells you a little bit about my friend group growing up.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I also have tattoos too, but anyway.
Nice.
So yeah, I grew up playing in bands and things like that. So yep, I still am in a band.
Wonderful.
Shameless plug, Banyan Leaves. Everybody check it out. We're actually recording the 2nd album right now. So okay, is there anybody else have anything to share? Adi Purusha Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Really, really nice class. Very clear, full of realization. Srila Prabhupada's empowering you. You've developed that Sankirtan devotee reflex of going to the next person and giving them a chance. And the verses today, about being awakened while in a sleeping condition and being tired, completing your own experience, is kind of an interesting subject matter as devotees, because we're stretching ourselves in terms of sleep. And my own experience on Sankirtan, I'm talking about decades. We have this experience of speaking to people and feeling Lord Chaitanya's love flowing through us. It's so magical, right? You know what it's like when you're distributing and you're approaching people. It's not on your own strength. It's Krishna working through you. Very mystical. So you're doing that, and you're doing it as much as you can, right? You know that, right? You're doing it with all your strength. And then there comes a time when you can hardly get it out of your mouth. When you don't have, okay, Krishna, one more person. Okay, one more person. And you don't really want to stop, So that sleep
Mm.
is seen as like a terrible burden, the need for rest, right? You've had that experience? You don't
Yeah.
want to stop, but if you don't do the service of resting, you won't be able to do the service that you have, But still, you regret having to not be, can see another person but you just don't have it in you to do that.
Mm.
So Krishna I've had the experience of Krishna squeezing me to get out this desire. Gee, I wish I didn't have to sleep, right? We hear about the Goswamis.
Mm.
They slept just a few hours, they just had a pat of butter every 3 days or so. Let's see what we have here. We have a few minutes. Brother Balba was telling me that when he first came to the movement, there was another devotee there, and they heard about the Goswamis, and we know that, that would be ideal. And he said, so we used to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then this devotee's resting near me in the ashram. I saw he was getting up at 2:30 instead of 3 o'clock. And then he was getting up at 2 o'clock. And I said, what are you doing? He said, well, if I can just give up a half an hour every week, pretty soon I won't be sleeping at all. Well, I've been in the movement for, like he said at that point, 12 years, and I'm still sleeping like 6-7 hours a day at least,
Wow.
So, so I was thinking, well, there's a disparity between this ideal of not sleeping at all and what I'm doing right now. He said, because it was ridiculous, and eventually this devotee was getting up. He started collapsing and falling asleep during japa and falling asleep during his class and falling asleep during.
Yeah.
We're our sincerity may be there, but it's fanatical and ridiculous and impractical, and it's not really how you apply Krishna consciousness. But but Krishna, in his hilarious, clever way, he's giving me a service now. Bhima was mentioning we take care of this guest program, right? So last week we had about 70 or 80 guests there, right? So I do the night shift. My service, I take care of the night shift from 7 o'clock in the evening till 5:30 in the morning. So it's like 10 hours, 11 hours. And I do get some sleep. I rest here and there. I might get a few hours sleep, 3, 4, 5 hours sleep in between people coming in and people needing this, and have conversations with people. But I have to share that whenever there's a need, somebody at the door, somebody who needs help, Krishna lets me pop up like a piece of toast, which is like, it's inconceivable. Oh, you know what?
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Papa ki jai. Radha Muralidhar ki jai. Gorcham ki
Jai Radha Muralidhar. Mataji, the light.
Jai Shri Radha Murlidhar Ki Jai, Shri Guru Chandra Ki Jai, Shri Brajananda Das Prabhu Ki Jai. Wonderful class. Thank you, Prabhu. A quick question, Brajananda Prabhu. Like you said, asking for sleep is a benediction that sounds weird. It's unusual. He could have asked for anything, but he chose to ask for sleep. Then how did Krishna come into play? What did he do that he got Krishna to appear before him as a result of that weird benediction? Is there a backstory?
Like a previous life backstory, or?
Yeah, how did Krishna come into play? The guy asked for sleep, and then he got darshan of Krishna.
Maybe I don't remember every single detail, but from perspective of service, he was serving the demigods in a great way, and demigods are very dear, especially Indra.
That's right.
Krishna.
Yeah, serving the devotees of Krishna. Yeah, that's what got him there.
Yeah, so that's actually the highest thing we can do, and I really, everyone's a devotee of Krishna, but covered. And so I love Adi Purusha's and in y'all's vision of hospitality. Actually, it's such a sacred thing to provide space for people and to serve them, and then also invite them into a spiritual environment. I also run a few Airbnbs myself. So we have, in one of my first Airbnb I ever started, we put Light of the Bhagavat paintings on the wall. And our whole theme of the Airbnb is like a Zen theme. So we have like Buddha out front in our little rock garden. And then inside we have like, I made like a stencil on the wall of like flowers. And then we have those paintings from Light of the Bhagavat that I got from BBT. You can actually just call the BBT up and they'll have them printed for you for a price, obviously. But it's a great way to support the BBT. And
can you send me the link or contact? Can you send us the contact? We want to talk to them.
Yeah.
Maybe not right
LA
now.
BBT.
Prabhu, I went on BBT 5 painting for the hallway.
I can't hear you, Bhima Prabhu. Can't hear you.
Oh, shoot.
Did you say, oh, Krishna, or oh, shoot?
I said, oh, shoot. Okay. Very innocent.
We can't hear you that well.
How about now?
Better. It's better.
Yeah.
Better? Okay. I was actually just spent the past 3 or 4 days, Krishna arranges, and I was going to the BBT and Krishna.com because I was looking for framed canvas prints of all, and I was willing to pay whatever price they wanted to get these pictures on the wall, because they're very, as Prabhupada said, they're windows to the soul, windows to Goloka. So you're saying, where would I go to find prints?
So go to the chat, and I just dropped the number for the BBT. I would just call them. They're open at 10:30 in the morning, California time. So I don't know if they sell canvas prints framed and everything like that, you can ask them.
Well, even just prints. I mean, I can
you
always
can get-
have them framed myself.
I'm sorry, you can also just go to Krishna.com, and the store has all the official BBT prints.
There you
And
go.
you can buy
I
it that
must
way.
be missing something because I spent an hour on Krishna.com and got nowhere. I'll try again.
Oh.
I'll try again.
I'll send the direct link to Ananda Bihari Prabhu, and he can
Thank
forward
you.
it to you, Prabhu.
Thank you. That would be wonderful. What's wonderful is we see 44,000 people a year. 44,000 people come in and get a chance to take prasad, get a book. Almost every one of our people gets a T-shirt, has All You Need Is Love on it. Beautiful design done by
Okay,
Nityananda.
Bhima Prabhu, enough of paid promotions today. Let's get fired.
Well, it's practical application of the philosophy. I just wanted to say real quick, Muchakunda and Kalivana, it reminds me of how science, it tries to chase the concept of God, that no matter how fast they run or how technologically advanced we get, Krishna only has to walk to stay away. He'll never be caught by science. And that when someone in Krishna's presence wakes up in Krishna's presence, the mind or the pride of so-called speculative science is immediately burned to ashes. So that's one of the aspects, one of the facets, as you said, Prabhu, many facets to Krishna's pastimes. I remember Swami, I can't remember, was saying that Kalivana represents the mind. The mind will never catch Krishna, but in Krishna's presence, we will wake, and everything that we speculated as in regards to the nature of reality and the absolute truth will be burned away, and we will see Krishna standing there in all his effulgence, as if in a dark cave.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well said. Well said, Prabhu.
Thank you. How wonderful it is to wake up in the association of the devotees that are glorifying Krishna and smiling. They're saying, "Oh Krishna," instead of "Oh" other things. Okay, it was nice seeing you, Brajananda Prabhu. Wonderful class. Good luck with your projects, Airbnb, your outreach. What benediction did you ask for after you were done fighting as a brahmachari? Did you ask for sleep?
I asked for a nice wife.
Nice. That's a bona fide benediction to ask for.
I got one pretty quick.
Cool. So that was granted. Right.
Krishna arranged it pretty quick. I didn't want to I don't know. My main thing was my main thing is I didn't want to hang out in between very long. So you know what I mean? It's that was scary to me because this is just get it, just do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's wonderful. So I got that and more than I can even imagine. Yeah. What can I say?
Thank you. That's a success story in Bhakti. Brajananda Prabhu.
Yeah.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
I'm still working on things. So
yeah, it's a lifetime project. That's what spouse is for.
Yep.
Tell us what to do. Yeah.
Work in progress. Thanks for having me here. Wonderful to be able to engage in service to Bhakti Center and the community. I'm very grateful. Somehow you all like me and very grateful.
Thank you. Brajananda, you're my Ananda brother.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Have a great day. Hope to see you all soon.
Cool. Hare Krishna.